is on the John McIntyre, sorry. Sean McIntyre is candidate number 2 for our Board of Trustees. And I'm sure all candidates will accept questions after everybody presents, if that's okay. Thank you.
Good evening. Can everybody hear me okay, or would you like me to adjust the mic? How's that? Is that good?
Yes, that's good.
Thank you very much for that kind introduction, Director Borowski, and it was certainly an honor to follow Trustee Bryant. I would only ask that you cut me a little bit of slack on my age. Hopefully you think I am a lot older, or I look a lot older than I actually am, but neither here nor there. Again, it's a pleasure to be here tonight to introduce you to myself, Sean McIntyre, the trustee, or one of the 3 trustees for the candidates, I should say, or we qualify that, one of the candidates for the trustee open seat. And first and foremost, Director Borowski, honorable trustees, friends of the Mount Vernon Public Library, ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and thank you all very much for giving me this opportunity to address you tonight as one of your candidates. I am simply honored, humbled, and privileged to be a part of this open process. And I'd like to thank the staff and everyone in the community for making this open and possible. Before getting into the specifics of my candidacy, which I promise will take all of 5 minutes, I first want you, if you would, to indulge me in a few moments as I briefly walk you through the significance that the public library system has played in my own life, my own existence. Growing up in Hyde Park, New York, just a little up the river from here, FDR's hometown, I realized from an early age that visiting my public library was truly a gateway to a better life. And by that, I mean both in a personal sense and an academic sense. It's no exaggeration to suggest that I would not be here tonight as one of your 3 candidates were it not for my childhood librarians who always opened doors for me, and unconditionally, I might add. And they always empowered me all the same to satisfy my intellectual curiosity. And I think also they went so far as to instill in me a sense of civic pride and civic duty. Moreover, as the son and grandson of Irish immigrants from extremely humble origins, obtaining my first library card was one of my first official encounters with American democracy, and I will always cherish that, almost as much as earning my first paycheck as a newspaper delivery boy from the age of 9. In short, it could be argued that the countless hours spent in the public libraries of my youth really were nothing short of sacred and invaluable. And this lesson, again, is something that I cherish, but I've also imparted that lesson onto my 2 school-age daughters, who are now proud card-carrying members of the Mount Vernon Public Library. So fast forward to today, this evening, in terms of my qualifications for the office of trustee. While many of you have had a chance to read my bio, or may have read my bio, or skimmed through it, it is on the website along with my 2 worthy opponents. I nonetheless want to reinforce the point that I truly think it's my combined private sector and government sector skill set that will equip me with the tools necessary to tackle this very challenging role. And I'm not going into this with blinders. I realize it's going to be quite a daunting task to be your hypothetical trustee for the 2015 through 2020 term. Gosh, I can't believe I said 2020. But after all, the prerequisites for service on the Board of Trustees do not entail being a master of library science. At least I hope they do not entail such. Nor do they entail being a certified archivist or a curator for that matter. Rather, this post in many ways demands a candidate whose specialties include skills such as negotiation, marketing, analysis, business development, relationship building, partnership building. And these are all crucial to the trustee's capacity to vigorously promote and fulfill the mission of the library. I mean, after all, that's why I will be here, hypothetically speaking, come June 2nd, to serve the library and to serve our community all the same. And if elected, these traits that I have honed over the past 2 decades in business as well as in government service will be put to great use. On behalf of the administration here this evening, my fellow trustees, hopefully, patrons, and the Mount Vernon citizenry alike. To Director Borowski and the entire library administration and staff, as a prospective trustee, I look forward to serving under your tutelage and will not be afraid to ask simple or even complex questions. Because I truly believe that I know what I don't know, so to speak. I know where my strengths lie, and I know where they end. And that being the case, I will strive at all times to serve as your catalyst and facilitator, and not a stumbling block. And to my prospective trustee colleagues, please bear in mind that even though I happen to share a considerable amount of your values, let the record reflect this evening that I am not a rubber stamp. I feel strongly that there's such an important need to debate each and every single issue on the merits. And many times that can be painful, but I believe that's what it takes. And again, I will do so in a very collegial, constructive, and respectful manner, at the very least. I mean, that's the bare minimum, the bar that I set for myself, and I know I'd be following in very similar footsteps here tonight. And rest assured, I will take pains to temper my enthusiasm and vision with an abundant supply of execution and results. Because at the end of the day, you can have this grandiose vision, but if you can't execute, or if you're not on a track record of being a taskmaster and working in collaboration with your fellow board members, then what's it all worth? Last but not least, to my worthy trustee opponents here this evening, each of you on paper and in actuality, indeed, have impressive credentials as candidates. But I strongly believe that I have a unique 4-point plan for the library, as outlined in my campaign statement, that will most effectively benefit the library and all of its stakeholders heading into the 2015-2016 fiscal year, and even well beyond. As everyone tonight can attest, our library is an absolute treasure trove, and many have referred to it as the crown jewel of the Westchester library system. But if you think about it in another sense, at least in my humble estimation, the library still remains somewhat of a hidden gem in our community in particular. And as such that in my heart of hearts, I truly believe that we can resolve together here tonight and going forward to make the Mount Vernon Public Library the central library of Mount Vernon, and not merely the central library of WLS. So in closing, with Election Day just around the corner, June 2nd, I will be here before we know it. I look forward to the support of many of my fellow Mount Vernonites, it is hoped, and many of my supporters to date hail from several nooks and crannies of the entire 4.4 square mile radius of Mount Vernon. So I just wanted to thank everyone here tonight, once again, for allowing me the opportunity to express the service and let you know who I am, where I'm coming from, as it pertains to my desire to be the 5th member of the Board of Trustees for the Mount Vernon Public Library. And please remember, if nothing else, just show up on the 2nd of June, cast your ballot for the budget proposal, as well as your choice for trustee. So it's been an honor once again to address each and every one of you, and I look forward to taking your questions once the formal part of the session is concluded. Thank you again.
Candidate is Tamara Stewart, and I invite you to come on up, Tamara, and address.
Good evening, everybody. There are benefits to speaking last, and I think what it has me reflect on this evening is that even though the election hasn't taken place yet, the library has already won, because all 3 candidates for trustee this year are strong. They bring skills and a real sense of commitment to this library. So I just want to acknowledge that we're going to be in good hands regardless of who ends up being the next trustee on board. So for that, I feel really good because I'm in something of a unique position. I'll go back to the very beginning and say again, my name is Tamara Stewart. I'm a professional librarian. I've worked in public libraries and academic libraries. I currently work in a school library at Rye. And while it's not a requirement for the job, there have certainly been times over the years where it has been to the board's advantage that there was another librarian in the room other than the library director, because there are just times when there are things that you know, because this is your chosen profession, that people may not be aware of because they're in a different profession during their day job. while I was not born and raised in Mount Vernon, I've been here for the last 30 years. This is my adopted home. I'm very proud to say that I'm a Mount Vernonite. I'm proud to be from the Bronx, but I'm also proud to be a Mount Vernonite. And I have a unique perspective in that over the last 5+ years, I have been involved in this library. I have advocated for this library throughout the community. I wish I had $1 for everybody who thought I worked for this library, because then I'd have a nice little bank account on the side, because there are a whole lot of people in Mount Vernon who think I already work for the library. And in a sense I do, and I have. I'm very proud of this library, and I agree with you, Sean. I think that this library has tremendous potential that we have not yet tapped. I've sat on the sidelines at board meetings for over 5 years. I've only missed one in all this time. I've been through several directors. I've been through several boards. And I want to commend the current members of this library's board. I know it's been very challenging over the last year. 4 out of 5 of our current board members only came on board a year ago. And I've watched them work incredibly hard to try to learn their responsibilities as trustees, to help with this shift from having the city do a lot of things for the library to having the library operate independently in terms of its finances, etc. I've watched Carolyn work very hard to make the adjustments and the accommodations. And I can tell you as somebody who, when I first started coming to board meetings, where 3 out of every 4 board meetings, the board could not transact business because it did not have a quorum, it was not duly constituted, there were not enough board members present for the library to vote on what needed to get voted on, to a time where I want to say that's only happened once, as I can recall in recent memory, that this library and this board has really progressed over time. So we're moving in the right direction. There's no question about that. Do we still have challenges? Absolutely. Are there things that we still want to see happen? You got that right. And because I've been sitting on the side, sort of the 6th wheel on the library board for a while, I've had the opportunity to observe, to think about things. I've had some discussions with trustees, and it feels as if this opportunity might be useful, not so much for me, but for the library to provide me with an opportunity to bring some of the thoughts and some of the ideas, particularly around fundraising, around communicating better with the community, to be able to move some of those agendas forward, because those are things that we need here in Mount Vernon. One of the fundraising ideas that I've had that I have not been able to really get much traction with, but I would really love to see happen, is some sort of an annual acknowledgement of Heavy D and a fundraiser around acknowledging one of Mount Vernon's, incredibly talented figures that I know we always acknowledge him when we have Arts on 3rd, but we don't even own all of his stuff here in Mount Vernon. There are other libraries in Mount Vernon, other than the Mount Vernon Library, that have more material about somebody who was born and raised here, who got famous here, than what we have in our collection. I guarantee you, if we had a Heavy D fundraiser every year, we would get the community out. We would get people from a much broader, the much larger world out, because he was an international figure. Raise awareness for the library, raise some funds, pay homage, tribute, etc. That's just one idea I have for fundraising, because we need additional money. The library's taken some terrible hits over the last bunch of years in terms of the budgets, in terms of staff. It's been a rough ride. We've been in danger of closing a number of times, and we've made it through some tough times, so we're heading in the right direction. And I would like to believe that I might be able to assist better on the board in helping to move forward than sitting on the side. However, regardless of what happens with this election, I promise you, I will continue to support this library. This is my library, this is my community, and I will continue to serve it in whatever capacity I can. The last item on the list of trustee responsibilities says it's not about you, it's about the library, and that has always been my position about my interaction with and on behalf of the library in the city. Because it's not about me as an individual, it's not about having my name on anything. This institution has served our community well for 150 years. We need this institution to continue to serve our community. It is larger than any of us as individuals. And I understand and I thoroughly respect that. So, I look forward to continuing my relationship with the Mount Vernon Public Library. I will be at the board meetings, regardless of whether I'm sitting on the side or I'm sitting at the table, because that's who I am and that's what I do. So I thank you for your time, and I thank you for coming out. And once again, my name is Tamara Stewart. Please make sure that you encourage everyone you know to come out for the library vote on June the 2nd. Thank you.